Good afternoon. My name is Simcha Felder. I'm the chair of the Cities Committee. Thank you for coming. Well, again, welcome everyone who's here and our viewers on the internet. I just wanted to introduce my colleague, Senator Roxanne Prasad. I have the honor to be serving on this committee with, and we have some vote sheets from people who weren't able to attend, and a quorum exists to do business. Today we have on the agenda consideration of 12 bills. The 13th bill, Senate Bill 4245A by Senator Klein, has been withdrawn from the agenda at the request of the sponsor for consideration of amendments. That said, we'd like to proceed with the agenda.
Our first bill on the agenda is Senate Bill 887A by Senator Avella. It's an act to amend the Administrative Code of the City of New York.
All in favor? Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, excuse me for my tardiness.
I just wanted to know that we've been sitting here for 45 minutes.
My apologies, Mr. Chairman.
Only for the last
3 minutes.
That's when we showed up. That's when we showed up. Yeah, okay, next bill is reported.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Sorry about that.
Our next bill on our agenda is Senate Bill 3372 by Senator Golden. It's an act to amend the Administrative Code of the City of New York in relation to signage in school speed zones.
All in favor?
Senator Peralta.
Is opposed?
No, Senator Peralta. Is in favor.
He's in favor.
And I will go without explanation.
Yes.
Oh, can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, okay.
Beautifully.
Next,
That bill is reported again. The next bill, as Senator Felder indicated, 4542A has been withdrawn from the agenda at the request of Senator Klein. He's considering amendments on it. Our next bill is Senate Bill 4631 by Senator Lanza. It's an act to amend the Administrative Code of the City of New York in relation to requiring the replacement of lighting ballasts.
all in favor of reporting the bill to the floor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Minority. We oppose, the minority opposes.
Okay.
The bill is reported. We thank you.
You don't have to thank him for opposing.
Sure he does.
Why?
He's being polite.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Thank her again.
Thank you, Senator, for what you're doing. The next bill is Senator Golden's 6303. It's an act to amend the Administrative Code of the City of New York in relation to establishing a credit for beer produced within the City of New York.
All in favor?
Is
All
that a
opposed?
recommendation?
The bill is reported. Our next bill.
Thank you.
Our next bill is Senate Bill 6606 by Senator Ritchie. It's an act to amend the general city law, the town law, and the village law in relation to authorizing the use of mediation in land use decisions.
All in favor?
I don't know. Here,
Somebody's got to get up.
There's another chair.
I get it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Bill is reported.
The bill is reported. Our next bill is Senate Bill 7079 by Senator Felder. It's an act to amend the general city law and the education law in relation to the duration of settlement agreements in a school district in a city having a population of 1 million or more.
All in favor? Opposed?
Minority in opposition.
Thank you.
The bill is reported to the floor. The next bill is Senate Bill 7109 by Senator Lanza. It's an act to amend Chapter 890 of the laws of 1982 relating to the establishment of certain water charges.
Anybody in favor?
Of course.
Yeah. Anybody opposed? Okay.
That bill is also reported. The next bill is Senate Bill 7110, also by Senator Lanza. It's an act to amend the real property tax law in relation to extending the expiration of the solar electric generating system tax abatement.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
No.
I want to apologize, I didn't introduce two of my colleagues, Senator Savino and Senator Axer, who joined us. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, and again, for the record, I would apologize for my tardiness.
Me too.
And I would like to apologize for my tardiness as well. Thank you, Rector.
Thank you, Jim.
Anybody else want to apologize for anything? No, it's like a Day of Atonement all over again.
That bill is reported to the floor. The next bill is Senate Bill 7310 by Senator Young, an act to amend the general city law in relation to exempting the city of Olean from Article 4 of the general city law.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Senator Peralta without recommendation.
Thank you.
That bill is also reported. The next bill is 7332 by Senator Lanza. It is an act authorizing owners of residential real property in high-risk brush fire areas in the borough of Staten Island to cut and remove reeds from their property.
Senator Akshar just whispered to me, is it a big problem? It is a huge problem. Staten Island being the gateway to the New York Harbor, we suffer from invasive species regularly, and one of the biggest invasive species we have are called Phragmites. They look like reeds. They're very tall, and they have just populated themselves in areas, and they take over whole sections, particularly in our wetlands, and they are dangerous, and they are subject to flash fires. So the ability to remove them is very important for fire safety, and also they become a place for animals to habitate. It's very important. It seems silly, but it's very important to Staten Islanders.
It doesn't seem silly to me. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
This bill is reported. It is extended. It's an extender that has been approved. Our next bill is 7336 by Senator Felder. It's an act to amend the general city law in relation to prohibiting the imposition of any tax, fee, or local charge on carry-out merchandise bags.
I wholeheartedly support this piece of legislation, Senator Felton.
Thank you. Anybody else in favor?
So am I.
Okay. You want to be more vociferous?
I said aye.
No, like what they did, you know, like.
Well, seeing, I think what New York City is trying to do will hurt the people that they're not intending to hurt. And so for that reason, that's why I'm against it. And, I don't, it's not that they've just decided to change from 10 cents to 5 cents. It's still going to hurt many people. And so for that reason, I cannot support it. So.
Certainly, and I think it's important also, because there are people watching us, that we state clearly for the record, we're not opposed to the
We're not
idea
opposed to the
of
idea,
environmental
yes.
policy.
Mhm.
But with all due respect to our council colleagues, the reality is environmental policy only works if you have everybody buying into it. You know, the state of New York adopted a bottle bill several years ago, and some of us are not big supporters of the bottle bill, but the reality is the bottle bill works because everybody who buys a bottle that has a 5-cent deposit on it has to pay that 5-cent deposit. And that 5-cent deposit that's collected eventually goes into environmental recycling policies, right? That's what we're supposed to do. The proposal that's before the New York City Council, that is, I think, well-intentioned by some who want us to do something to reduce these plastic bags, and we all agree that that's a worthy goal, doesn't accomplish that. It exempts certain bags from certain stores, from liquor stores, from certain people, from certain income levels. It's not consistent, and what's worse is, none of the money goes to the recycling effort. The merchants and the stores get to keep it, so there's almost an incentive for them to double bag.
Exactly.
And who is going to monitor that? So I think it's, if our city colleagues are interested in developing environmental policy, maybe we could work together to help them achieve that goal. This is not environmental policy, and I support the Senator's efforts to try and inject some common sense into what has become a controversial issue that really will not achieve environmental policy.
Something we need much more of here,
Thank you.
Thank you.
common sense.
Thank
It's
you.
not common. With that being said, Senator Peralta, without recommendation.
Okay, thank you.
The bill is reported, and at the Senator Felder's direction, the committee is attempting right now to put together a public hearing on this issue in the city of New York in the first week of June. When that gets more concretized, we as staff will let you know what is happening and where we're there, so we will put that out shortly, hopefully.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our last bill is Senate Bill 7395 by Senator Felder. It too is an act to amend the general city law in relation to establishing the prohibition against requiring a permit for the singing of the national anthem or the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance.
Senator Asher, do you want?
I want to very briefly applaud you for this. I was totally taken aback when I saw this. Can you speak just very briefly about what took place that made you want to?
Unless Roberts.
There was, in the last week of April, a school group which came from North Carolina to visit the 9/11 memorial. They were 60 young 12-year-olds, and were so moved by what had happened at the World Trade Center site that they spontaneously, as school children, started to sing the national anthem. Sadly, there is a requirement in the city of New York that in order to maintain a performance at a public memorial, you have to have a permit to do it. So even though this was a totally spontaneous expression of their reverence for what happened there, they were immediately ordered to cease and desist by police officers and security guards. The senator believed that this piece of legislation was necessary to demonstrate that if you're going to show that kind of reverence for our nation and the people who have fallen for it, that doesn't require a permit. This wasn't a performance that was necessary to be able to carry out the policy of the city of New York. And obviously, if people are going to do performances, that's fine for the city to have that policy. But this should be an exception to that. And this was a national news story that broke on that. And not only that, but to their credit, city officials did apologize, but they said there was nothing they could do. Well, now there is something that they could do.
Well, there's something Senator Felder can do and we can all do, so I join you. I bucked onto the bill. I think it's a great bill.
Thank you.
I hold police and security guards near and dear to my heart, of course, because of my past previous employment. But shame on them for the actions that they took that day. We should be encouraging people to embrace this country, not holding people down. So I applaud you for your effort here.
I just have one question. Was this outside
Correct.
on the open plaza?
Correct.
You need a permit?
I think
Isn't
it was
that public?
inside.
No, it was outside.
It's at one point they were
Matter of fact, you can
inside,
watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's on
Was it where because I was just there last week. I had some relatives in, so I took them to
It was
the,
up close to the fountains, is the best I could see on YouTube.
which was the old where the original towers stood. They have the fountains.
Yes.
So they just standing. They were by pools. So just standing outside singing.
Correct.
So if I were just to stand there and start singing,
But they shut
I
you
would
down,
need a
Diane.
permit
Yeah.
just to sing a song.
The way that the ordinance reads, you need a permit to conduct a performance at the memorials, and they deemed the singing of the national anthem a performance.
How do they determine what a performance is in this
Well,
ordinance?
That's one of the reasons why we clarified that in this legislation, because the security guards and the police officers said that this was a performance.
But then, by the way, I support the bill. I think this is important, but it just begs a bigger question of again, common
Who makes the
sense.
determinations?
Who makes a determination of, suppose it was an interpretive dance, suppose I was a ballerina and I wanted to, dance.
If you read the ordinance, all of those could be deemed a performance. So.
It's
ludicrous.
Good work,
It's a public
Senator
square.
I would just add that I'm somewhat sensitive to this issue because when I was in the New York City Council,
Back when they had sense.
when I was in the City Council, the Pledge of Allegiance was never done at City Council
Right.
hearings. Was never done. And I don't know whether that's the reason, but sometimes the pursuit of being politically correct goes too far. And as a result of some work that I did with one or two of my colleagues, the City Council does do the Pledge of Allegiance today. It was, so we have to, like you said, common sense earlier, so I appreciate your support. And with that,
Call the roll.
Just to let you know, Senator Peralta puts out a recommendation.
okay, thank you.
That bill is reported.
I talked to him this session.
Thank you very much for coming. Have a good day.